Good morning, students. Today's topic is the spinal cord in the chapter nervous system, the spinal cord. In this, we'll study about the arrangement of gray matter and white matter in the spinal cord, the area from which it starts and ends into, then function of spinal cord, and one more term, that is CSF. What is a CSF? That also we'll discuss in this topic. So let's start with the topic spinal cord. Spinal cord, it originates from medulla oblongata of brain to the second lumbar vertebra. Location is from medulla oblongata of brain to the second lumbar vertebra. It continues through the neural canal. Neural canal, if you remember the structure of vertebra that you have studied in class 9, the neural canal was a empty space in the vertebral column. So that empty space through the neural canal, it reaches up to the second lumbar vertebra. Arrangement of white and grey matter. In this, it is just the reverse of brain. Arrangement is reverse of brain. Now what does this mean? In brain, the arrangement was grey matter outside, white matter inside. Grey matter is for the cell body of the neuron, where the area where cell body of the neuron is located appears grey in color, appears darker in color. So for that we use the term grey matter. In brain, grey matter outside, white, which is for axon endings, white appearance of axon, so white inside, grey outside, white inside for the brain. But for the spinal cord, it is just the reverse, white matter outside, grey matter inside. And this white matter is for the axon endings, or sorry, not endings, axon, and grey matter for the cell bodies. Cell bodies, the Nissl granules inside the cell body gives a darker appearance to the this part. So this arrangement is just reverse of brain. Just keep it in your mind. Brain, it appears grey, greyish from outside. So grey outside, white inside. The spinal cord just reverse. White outside, grey inside. Then in this canal, in this central canal where the nerve cord continues, a fluid is present. The fluid is called known as CSF. CSF means cerebrospinal fluid. CSF, cerebrospinal fluid. Role of this of CSF is it provides a shock-proof cushion to the spinal cord. Secondly, it forms a medium for the exchange of various materials like exchange of food materials, exchange of waste products, exchange of respiratory gases. So the function of CSF is cerebrospinal fluid. Function of CSF is it allows exchange of food products, it allows exchange of waste materials, exchange of respiratory gases. So this is the role of CSF. It is very important topic. Very important topic. CSF, for 1 mark question, it may be asked what is the role of CSF, the full form of CSF, function of CSF. Any type of questions could be found from this. Then function of spinal cord. Function of spinal cord, most of the work is done by brain. But the messages, these messages or the reflexes are conveyed to the lower part of the body via spinal cord. So this reflexes below neck, all the functions that is below neck, all the work or the reflexes below neck, it is controlled by spinal cord. It conducts sensory impulses from the skin and muscles to brain. In this chapter, we'll study about the reflexes. Through the diagrams, it would be more clear to you that if something hurt or if we are touching a pointed object, so from the sensory nerve, it is sent to the spinal cord, and the reflexes through the motor nerve and the reflexes. What to do? What action we have to do? We have to pull back our hand, or we have to for that blinking of eyes if something comes closer to the eye. So that all these reflexes are controlled by spinal cord. It is the messages are received through the sensory nerves. Messages are conveyed. Messages are transcribed, or it is translated in the spinal cord, and the reflex action is the impulse for the reflex is sent through motor nerves to the part where the action has to be taken. So this conducts sensory impulses. Last was conducts motor responses. This also I have explained, the motor responses. Sensory nerves receives messages, motor nerves takes back the messages for the control, for the voluntary actions. So this is the role of spinal cord. ANS or autonomic nervous system. It is having two different nervous supply, which controls various organs, which controls functioning of various organs. One is the sympathetic nervous system, second is parasympathetic, and the location of this sympathetic nerves or sympathetic nerve cords is it arises from the spinal cord between the neck and the wrist region. Means this complete region, this neck and wrist region, it is controlled by the sympathetic nerves. Parasympathetic nerves, the location is present in two different locations. One is anteriorly, it is present in the head and neck region. Posteriorly, it is present in the sacrum region. Sacrum, if you remember, that in the vertebral column, atlas, axis, cervical, thoracic, then lumbar, and after that the sacrum was present, and last was coccyx. So just above coccyx, the second it is present in the sacral region, posteriorly in the sacral region. Now, what is the role of ANS, autonomic nervous system? Autonomic nervous system is responsible for all the functions which stimulates our work, which initiates our work, which controls our work, which retards a function of the body or accelerates a function of the organ. So that acceleration and retardation is controlled by the autonomic nervous system. And this sympathetic nerves and parasympathetic nerves, they are just opposite in their function. Sympathetic, it is controlled by the hormone adrenaline, which is secreted by the adrenal gland. If you remember that the structure of kidney, just above the kidney a triangular cap-like structure was present, which was the adrenal gland. Adrenal gland. Renal is the word for kidney. So just above kidney, adrenal gland is present. It secretes a hormone adrenaline, which is also termed as fight or flight hormone, which is responsible for all the stress actions, or all the actions when immediate response is required. So this adrenaline is the hormone which controls the sympathetic nerves. And first of all, let me explain the functions controlled by sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves. So first is the heartbeat. Sympathetic nerves accelerates heartbeat, while parasympathetic retards heartbeat. First I am explaining, and then I will give you the trick or the way to memorize all these things, how you will memorize what function it is doing. So let's just have a look on functions of each of the sympathetic and parasympathetic. Heartbeat, it is accelerated by the sympathetic while it is retarded here. Blood vessels constrict except coronary vessels. Coronary vessels are the vessels that supply blood to the heart. So this except coronary vessels, it constricts the vessels, while parasympathetic, it dilates except coronary vessel. Intestine, the peristalsis, which is responsible for the process of for the movement of digested food from the stomach to the intestine. In the intestine, it is pushed back, it is pushed downward by the action of peristaltic movement, and that peristalsis is decreased in the sympathetic. Parasympathetic, it is just opposite. Urinary bladder, the sphincter which is in the urinary bladder. Sphincter muscles are present here, which controls the urination process. Urine is released by the process termed as micturition, and this sphincter muscles, when it contracts, so it holds the urine inside the bladder. At that time, bladder is in relaxed condition, bladder is full, it is in relaxed, but the sphincter muscle, it is constricted. So here, constriction of the sphincter, contraction of the sphincter, but the muscles are relaxed. Salivary gland inhibits secretion of saliva. Sympathetic, and just explaining sympathetic, and parasympathetic is just opposite of this. Inhibits secretion of saliva, while the parasympathetic, it stimulates secretion of saliva. Lacrimal gland stimulates secretion of tear. The lacrimal gland is the tear gland, which is present at the outer part of the orbit, the inside this part. Lacrimal glands are present, so outer part of the orbit, lacrimal gland or the tear gland, it stimulates the secretion of tear, while parasympathetic inhibits this one. Erector, hair muscles of skin, hair muscles, the erector muscles stimulates contractions resulting in goosebumps or resulting in raising of hairs, raising of skin hairs, while in this case it is in a relaxed condition or hairs are flattened. Next, body gets prepared for action. As I have already said that this sympathetic is controlled by the adrenaline, which is fight or flight hormone. It is the hormone responsible for the action word or for the immediate response. So the body prepares for the action. Body gets relaxed, so prepares for relaxation. Lungs, bronchi and bronchioles dilate. When we are taking a deep breath like this, so that bronchi and bronchiole, the lungs, the part of the lung, it dilates, it takes more air inside. So dilation of this. Pupil of eye, it dilates. Just when we wide open our eyes, so that dilation of pupil is there. So now how you will memorize this, how not learning, just it is a way to understand what happened. Now think of a situation. You are watching an interesting match and the match is at end, like the situation 4 balls 3 runs, and this type of situation is there. At that time, what happens to you? What responses your body gives at that time? So first is heartbeat. At that time, heartbeat is faster. So all the responses by the sympathetic nerve. Heartbeat faster. Heartbeat is faster. Secondly, blood vessels. Blood vessels constrict because you are just holding your all body parts. The blood supply to all other parts is not required there. Your heartbeat is faster, so the coronary vessels, the blood vessels supplying to the heart, is required in more amount. So the coronary vessels dilate, except this coronary vessel, all other vessels are constricted at that time. Intestine, you at that time you are not feeling not a single chances of hunger. No, we are not going to take food at this time. So that at that time you are not ready to take food. The digestion process, it is controlled. Peristaltic movement of intestine is controlled. It is decreased. Peristaltic movement is decreased. Urinary bladder, you are controlling your micturition process, also controlling your urine. No, I am not going to washroom unless this match is over. So this control is by the sphincter muscles. Sphincter muscles are contracted. Bladder is full. Bladder is in relaxed condition. So the muscles of bladder is relaxed. Sphincter is contracted. Lacrimal gland. This tears. Where you are emotional with that moment. Where emotions related to tears. So that tear gland, it stimulates secretion of tear. Saliva. Not you are not feeling hungry at that time, so the saliva secretion is also inhibited. Erectors, goosebumps. So what is going to be happen this in the next moment? So that erector muscles make the hair raised. Body is prepared for action. You are started wishing that I wish that I could be playing in that match. So that your complete involvement is that your body is getting prepared for the action. Next is lungs. At that time you are taking deep breath. No, I don't know what is going to happen in the next moment. So this bronchi and bronchiole dilates to take more and more air. Pupil of eye, just you are watching that match with your eyes wide open, pupil dilated. So this, think of the situation and then your body's response. Heartbeat increased. Blood vessels constricted except coronary. Intestine peristalsis decreased. Urinary bladder sphincter contraction. Muscles relaxed. Salivary gland, secretion of saliva is inhibited. Lacrimal gland, stimulated secretion. Erector hair muscles stimulates contraction, raising the hairs. Body prepare for the action. Lungs, bronchi and bronchioles dilate. Then pupil of eye, it dilates. Now for this, by the picture shown in this diagram, you can easily understand by the picture shown here. As you can see, the function of sympathetic and parasympathetic, which is shown in this diagram. Okay, so just have a quick look on the nervous system. Nervous system, it comprises the central nervous system (CNS) and the peripheral nervous system, which is the PNS. Central and peripheral. Central nervous system comprises brain and spinal cord. Brain is again divided into three different parts: cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. PNS, peripheral nervous system, it is divided into two regions: somatic nervous system and autonomous nervous system. Somatic nervous system comprises cranial nerves, which is 12 pairs of cranial nerves. Cranial nerves, the nervous supply to the brain and the facial muscles. Spinal cord, spinal nerves, they are 31 pairs in number. And sympathetic and autonomic nervous system, sympathetic and parasympathetic. This is about the nervous system, brain. Here, this all we have studied, that cerebrum is for the seat of intelligence, memory, consciousness, willpower. Cerebellum, it controls the body activities. Medulla oblongata, it is responsible for the control of internal organs, breathing, respiratory movements, heartbeat and all. Spinal cord, it is responsible for conveying the messages or the reflexes that it receives through the sensory sensory nerves, and sends messages via motor nerves. So this, then somatic, cranial nerves, nerves arising from the cranial part. Cranial is for the brain, so nerves arising from the brain and basically to the facial nerves. So the cranial nerves are 12 pairs. Spinal nerves, nerves arising from the spinal cord, they are 31 pairs in number. Then autonomic nervous system, just now we have discussed about autonomic nervous system, which is the sympathetic and parasympathetic. Sympathetic is the stimulatory part which is controlled by adrenaline and responsible for all the action process, while parasympathetic is for relaxation. Thank you students for joining today.